Hi, I'm Eva,
I'm Amanda.
and we are doing our case study on Simon Levi Cellars. So first I'll talk about the history of the company. So it started in 1873 and it's present till today. So it's been in business for 146 years, where they've been whole throughout 6 generations between the family. The company and the family owners have the ability to adapt and change its business to its needs. During the Prohibition, they became a grocery distributor to the Maxwell House, and after the Prohibition, they got into liquor distribution, where they became one of the biggest distributors in South California. In the late 80s and between the 90s, they lost a contract with the liquor distributors because the liquor manufacturer wanted more statewide than regional, so they had to get out of that contract and they had to lease all their distribution warehouses. And this actually led to commercial warehouse leasing, and then they got into the wine business, where they owned their wine label, and they moved to North California, where they sold 20,000 to 240,000 cases a sale worldwide. And now they changed this business model to leasing commercial building, where they sold their label, and now they're focusing on expansion by leasing empty warehouses and buying 4 to 7 properties. The Simon Levi is now located in Kenwood, California, where Sonoma and Napa County are known and popular for having huge selection of wine cellars and vineyard grapes. The weather can have a huge impact in general for the business, where having too much rain during fall can cause glute, where just the grapes it's not really good to produce wine, or having a drought. The positive and negative influence on a macro level are economic, technological, and social. Those are the positive ones, where for the economic level, the wine industry has become very successful and has a positive impact on the economy, where the California wineries alone brings $60 billion annually to the state and about $115 billion to the US economy. So this generates a lot of jobs. On the technological level, technology is advancing overall. So this helped wine industry become successful by having different apps that will help wine producers be more organized, as well as socialize with their consumers. And since social has a positive impact as well, we see that wine business are transitioning their target from baby boomers to Generation X and millennials, where they are mostly found and can be reached through social media outlets, and it's become a positive impact for businesses to promote their products and services. The negative influences for the macro level would be political and legal, where US is now facing an immigration reform and agricultural labor supply, where it's a big problem for wineries and it might have a negative effect on their sales, where an example could be where Trump administration is taking big programs to help low income and non-citizens financially, and this can lead to having a decrease or a shortage in employees for the workforce in agriculture. Since majority of their agricultural workers are immigrants, if immigration reforms become stricter, this can hold wineries back by not producing enough wine juice. And the next one is about Porter's 5 forces, and this one is just pretty much an overall a clear vision on what the company is about and what they do and what type of business there is. So overall, we rated the degree of rivalry, power of suppliers, power of buyers, threats of new entrees, and threats of substitution. They all had pretty much a good rate. So for instance, the degree of rivalry, we rated the exit barrier to have a low effect on the industry attractiveness, as well as the product differentiation and corporate stakes. Power of suppliers for the industry had a low on presence of substitute inputs and switching costs of firms of the industry. The rest was rated as high or average. Powers of buyers had a low only on switching costs of buyers and threats backward integration. Threats of new entree had a low on switching costs for the consumers as well as expected retaliation. And threats of substitution only had a low on switching costs and buyers' increations to substitute. As well as the value curve, we actually based it off 4 categories. So number of location, number of variety of wines, different types of wine clubs and merchandise. And we see that over in this area for Simon Levi Cellars, there's already over 1,100 wine cellars, and we narrowed it down to the top wine cellars that have 4-star reviews and above, where it's located only on Sonoma Highway. And so far we have Letson Winery and Vineyard, Muscardini Cellars, and Kenwood Cellars to be the top competitors for Simon Levi, where Letson Winery has a huge competitive advantage by having the method of slashing their prices, as well as having a huge selection on merchandise. Muscardini Cellars has a huge competitive advantage by being having various locations around cities and local grocery stores and restaurants. And Kenwood Vineyard has a competitive advantage by giving an insight to their consumers on their agriculture, how diverse they are, and how close of a relationship they have with their workers. Lastly, well, second to last, we talk about the resources and capabilities of Simon Levi, where their main products are Chardonnay, Sparkling White, Dry Creek Syrah, and Russian River Valley Pinot Noir. And what makes them so unique is based on their taste of wine and their different ingredients that they use to produce unique flavor. And the way their competitive advantage on this section is based on having received awareness through award as well as name recognition. And they also partner with other local companies to build stronger relationships, as well as they expose themselves in the community through restaurants and local grocery stores. And last but not least are their strategic issues. And we see that Simon Levi has trouble with not having a strong social media platform to bring more awareness to their company or product. 2 is they are too small, and this limits their opportunity to grow as a company since it is a family business owned. They are trying to grow by leasing warehouses, and if they shift their focus from wine business to leasing warehouses, this gives them less opportunity in the wine industry. And this also concludes to how shifting the focus to commercial building leases has a huge risk by having their special sparkling wine be forgotten later on.
So for our project, we helped, Zach Paul is my dad. It's a family business. I've known them ever since I was little. He wanted to go through the process of going paperless. And what started the idea of this was the wildfires that happened, was that a couple years now?
2 years.
Yeah, a couple years from now, a couple years ago, and with it burning other buildings surrounding that highway, they really wanted to have like a backup, so they won't have to worry about losing those special documents, important documents that they can never get back again. And so this also can give them a more sustainable approach for their business by not using all the paper, reducing their carbon footprint. And this also eliminates the clutter of having, a big, huge filing cabinet in your office that takes up less space. And some suggestions. One thing that we really noticed, kind of the main thing, was that not a lot of people know who they are. So they should build more brand awareness through social media, maybe like Instagram, Yelp, Facebook, Twitter, all of those. I think that would really help them out. as well as keeping their focus on one thing, not multiple things. So like how they kind of have their sparkling wine, but then they also have kind of shifted their focus towards leasing their commercial buildings, and I think they should pick one or the other. And then as well as getting more involved with the community while they are so very involved. I think it would help get their name out there, participating in more competitions, things like that. And then this results, having people being more aware of their wines. And so right here, we have their wine labels. We have the Chardonnay, the Cutting Spore, the Pour La Vie, which is the sparkling wine, and then we have the SL Cellars here, which is their most current label. So yeah, overall it was a very interesting project. Yeah, thank you.